Hello everyone, in today's chess video we'll be talking about another exciting opening for black, which is the Slav defense. So today's video is sponsored by chess.com. Join the link in the description and you can learn different lessons. So in today's video we'll be talking about the Slav defense, which starts with the d4 pawn. So the Slav defense is a solid opening for black in response to white's queen's gambit. So you must remember, whenever white plays the queen's gambit, you should always consider playing. You should consider playing, or you can just simply play the Slav defense. So black fights for equality against one of the white's most popular opening without creating a bad light squared bishop. So one of the downside of other defenses like the French defense and Queen Gambit Declined, where you can just trap the light square bishop. So the Slav defense is extremely popular opening, which has been endorsed by many world-class champions such as Mikhail Botvinnik, Magnus Carlsen and Vichy Anand. So let's back to our video, where when the white plays c4, try a queen's gambit. Now the black can just simply move and try pawn to c6. So now the black can simply play the pawn c6, which is in the next video we will talk about in the coming time about the variations, which is now if the white takes and you can take, it becomes the exchange variation. So at this stage we are in a Slav defense. So the characteristics of c6, with the black plays c6, supports the d5 pawn while not blocking the light square bishop inside the pawn chain, and it happens with the openings such as other openings we have. So of course there are some downsides to the move c6, like the c7 and c6 pawn push does not help develop any pieces, and the pawn blocks the knight's most natural square. So now you cannot just simply bring your knight to c6, so which you can just simply in the next move take your knight to d7. So this was our Slav defense most basic opening. So now we will be talking about the variations of the Slav defense. So why I support let's talk about the variations first. So there you can say the 5 are the main variation in Slav defense, and we will be discussing each one one by one. So first we would like to discuss is the main line of the Slav defense, which is normal. So now in this game white can just simply play knight to f3, knight to f6, and in the main line defense you can just simply keep it's not some difficult, but the game continues and both the players take the advantage and develop some pieces. At this stage black can just simply take the pawn, so white can just simply in the next move just play this move. So now this is the natural move, nothing fancy going on in here, and now this opening is quite the simple. So at this stage white can just black can just simply play bishop to b5, and white can just e3, black can just simply play pawn to e6, and now the game continues. So now we are in a natural game where both the player can exchange and develop their pieces. So another question and another reason why you should place the Slav defense is is what are the advantages, or you can say what are the pros and cons. So I think uh, the the c8 bishop has a free diagonal, which is the light square bishop can get a free open diagonal. So, and I think why black maintains, black, it's a good opening for black because black can maintain some solid central pawn. Black might capture the c4 pawn in the next move and bring the game to exchange variation. So there are also some cons for this, is that black's development is little slower at this stage. Instead of developing the c6 pawn, black can just simply can develop any other piece, but he goes with the c6 pawn. So now you lose one move. So c6 pawn also blocks the natural move of the knight. So now we have discussed the, so this was the main variation. So this was the main line variation of the Slav defense, where the game continued naturally and nothing fancy going on. So the next variation we will talk about in this game is the modern line quad variation. So this was the main line, and now let me arrange the board for the modern line. As you can see, the first move, 4 moves are the same: d4, d5, c4, c6, and now knight to f3, knight to f6, and e3. Oh, sorry, the e3. So the e3 was played, and now you have some solids, and now you can just, you have some solid pawn structure where you can just back up your pawn in the next move. If the black does not take your pawn in the next move, you can just, or if he takes, you can take, or you can just bring your, if it's black move, let's just say black move some other move, black plays knight to e4. So now you can in the next move offer an exchange, and or if you don't want to, black, let's just say black plays this move, and you can just simply in the next move you play pawn to c5, and now you have a good pawn structure and you can just develop some pieces. So when the e3 was played, it becomes the modern line variation where you have the most central pawns, and you can just simply go for the exchange. So the another opening we should discuss is the Slav defense. So despite being a variation of the Slav, the semi-Slav branches out from standard Slav theory and can be considered a beautiful and different opening. So the semi-Slav is the second most popular option for black, and it often leads to close position. So the first 4, 5, 3 moves you can say just are the same. Knight, instead of just taking, you just play knight to f3 and the pawn to e6. And now in the, it's just different from the modern line variation, quad variation, where in the last variation we studied the black played the most centered pawn, e to e3, e pawn to e3, and now in this variation the black plays the knight and gets some strong opening position, and now he has a strong pyramid in the center, and which can be a little dangerous, but this pyramid just blocks the light square bishop but opens the diagonal for the dark square bishop, which in the next move can give you some strong checks. So whenever you are playing a Slav defense, you should know, at least you should know the first 2 or 4 moves which you can just change, and you cannot just control all the game by just playing some Slav defense triangle system or any other system, pyramid system. So you just have to you just need a little knowledge, so you can say how you can just play the opening. So this was the semi-slave defense where the black has a strong pyramidal triangle system. So next variation we will like to talk about is the exchange variation, which happens d4 d5, and now we are in a queen's gambit. Black plays c6, and now at this stage white can just take the pawn and black takes the pawn at d5. So now the exchange variation is most uneventful line of the slave defense despite its immense popularity. So one of the more than 46,000 games which were analyzed by the chess.com, so 65% of them ended up in a draw. The position in this variation are very symmetrical, with little chances for either of the player to create serious threats. So the most popular continuation of the line sees both players exchanging their pieces and reaching a drawn position. So even though the results aren't compelling, the exchange variation is the simplest way of playing against the slave and retain the initiative of having the first move as white. So now you have exchanged both the pieces. You can just simply go for the normal game. Black can just simply, white or both the player can just simply develop their knights and protect these squares. Now white has to protect the square, the e4 square, and the black has to protect the e5 square, and which can be a little challenging. So these were the main variations which you should know while playing the slave defense. And in the next video we will be talking about some and analyzing some games of played using the slave defense. So this was all for today, and I hope to see you in the next video. So today's video was sponsored by chess.com, and which you will find the link in the description, and join and learn your game. So this was the slave defense for black, and I hope you learned something from this video. Thank you so much.